Alright guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So look, every single year, Black Monday is absolutely insane, right? It's a lot of moving parts. It's filled with rumors and speculation and, all these different teams requesting interviews for different guys. So in this video, I wanted to take a look at every single head coaching opening and rank them from worst to best. So let's get into it. Okay, so coming in at spot number 6, the least attractive job out of the group, for me personally, is the Houston Texans. You take a look at what the Texans did last season. They won 4 games. They fired head coach and general manager Bill O'Brien. And whenever you fire a guy that's so ingrained, that's so rooted into the organization, a guy with that much power, it's going to leave a mark. There's going to be a scar there. It's going to take some time to really replenish this team. I mean, yes, they have Deshaun Watson, great quarterback, franchise guy, huge upside, and they have Laramie Tunsil, one of my favorite players in the league. I feel like a guy who's underrated. 2 solid pieces, 2 big positions on any football team out there are completely solved. No issues there, but the rest of the team, yeah, it's a question mark. So if you're looking for core pieces on this team outside of the quarterback and left tackle positions, they're few and far between. So it's evident that this team needs to reboot. They need to have a clean slate. They need to get some new guys in the building. But the issue, when you're taking a look at free agency, they have so many big contracts. Deshaun Watson's getting paid a ton. This is off the top of my head. J.J. Watt, Whitney Merciless, Brandon Cooks, Tunsil's getting paid a ton. Like, the cap space is definitely an issue for the Houston Texans franchise right now. So then you're thinking, okay, well, if we can't really do too much in free agency, let's look to the draft. Well, they don't have a first round pick because Miami owns it, and they don't have a second round pick either. So, the new head coach is going to be walking into a situation with a great franchise quarterback, with a great left tackle, but not that much money to mess around with in the offseason, having to pay a lot of older veteran guys that are kind of on the decline, like Cooks and Watt. It's a tough position to be in because you don't have that. And I mean, it sucks because that first round pick would have been the 3rd overall pick, and now it's Miami's. So you don't have that first pick. You don't have the second round pick. It's a tough position. It might be rocky year 1, but the good news is if you win 5, 6, 7 games next year, it's an upgrade, right? You're going in the right direction. So they definitely need a new guy to come in and really change the course of that franchise and get it going in the right direction. So I would say right now, the guy to keep your eye on for this Texans job is Eric Bieniemy, clearly. Okay, there's been a lot of buzz between the two parties. There's definitely a link there. The Texans have already reached out and requested an interview with Bieniemy. We've already heard the rumblings about Deshaun Watson wanting to play for him. That he likes the system a lot. He thinks he would do well in it. So I definitely would see that as a possible match moving forward. So team number 5 on this list is the Detroit Lions. Now, I'm really interested to see what direction the Lions go in this offseason. They obviously brought in Spielman to help with the search. I think that's awesome. And they're also looking for a general manager. I think with Detroit, the first thing that pops into my head when I think about the franchise is they obviously play in an extremely tough division. Green Bay Packers, number 1 seed in the NFC. I mean, the playoff team virtually every single season. They're a Super Bowl threat. The Chicago Bears, again, another playoff team. And then the Minnesota Vikings barely missed the playoffs. Okay, so really tough division. It's not like they're in some cupcake division. They have tough opponents. 6 games out of every single season. It's going to be a dogfight, okay? They have some nice young core pieces, guys like DeAndre Swift, Jeff Okudah, TJ Hawkinson. But the overall vibe of the team is kind of win now, okay? It's like a mix between veteran guys at the end of their contracts, guys like Kenny Golladay. There's a big question mark about Matthew Stafford. Should we bring him back? Stafford's a guy who, frankly, I love, and he doesn't get enough appreciation. But when you're looking long term, there has been a question, will the Lions move off of him? I think he's owed upwards of $20+ million for the season. So the Detroit Lions, all in all, they're a really interesting team, and I cannot wait to see what they do. With that top 10 pick, they can go in so many different directions. If you're thinking quarterback, possibly Trey Lance, he might be sitting there. It could be a nice adjustment to draft a Trey Lance early, have him sit behind Stafford for a season and then move forward. If they don't want to go that route, they can, address wide receiver. That's a position that's definitely aging for the Lions, and they might let Kenny Golladay walk. Look at Devontae Smith from Alabama, Jamar Chase from LSU. Maybe even a guy like Kyle Pitts if they want to go with the tight end, wide receiver type of hybrid, run like 12 personnel, who knows. But the Lions are interesting. The guy guy I would keep an eye on is Robert Saleh for this job. Again, another obvious choice. He's been linked with the Lions for quite some time now. There's a big push coming out of Detroit that they want to bring Saleh into the building, a guy who's hard-nosed, an intense guy who really players just absolutely love him. Look at Richard Sherman for an example. A couple of years ago, he got offered from Detroit. He did not go because of Matt Patricia, because of the culture, because of how Patricia ran his team. So I think Saleh to the Lions is definitely a real possibility. Moving on. Okay, so team number 4 is the Atlanta Falcons. Now the Falcons, they're interesting because I keep seeing the Falcons as the worst job, right? The worst possible job out there. But when I'm looking at the dynamic of Atlanta, this is a team that has, Matt Ryan at quarterback, and the decision's kind of split on him. Some guys still want to keep him. Some guys want to move off of him. I get it completely. He's older. He's not mobile at all. He can't really, move in the pocket that well. But he has won games. He's obviously thrown for a ton of yards. His arm strength is still there. He's obviously a great leader as well. You have a ton of wide receivers. I mean, that position is completely solid, fantastic. You're looking at the O-line. They've invested some first-round picks on the O-line. This team has a lot of pieces in place. Yes, they do have some big contracts on the defensive side of the ball, but at the same time, those guys are playmakers. Guys like Dante Fowler, Keanu Neal, Grady Jarrett, Deion Jones, right? This is a win-now team. It's just that the wins aren't there. They have a lot of veteran guys, a lot of players on this team that have won games before. I think it's just a matter of putting it all together, playing a full 4 quarters. I think it would actually be an easy transition for a guy to walk in the building and to say, hey, we have a lot of pieces in place. We have a quarterback that can win games, that has won games. He can still push the ball downfield. We play in a dome 8 games out of the year, 9 if you want 9 with the Saints. I mean, we're sitting pretty solid. Okay, now we only have to tweak a couple of things and we can get this thing moving in the right way. You also factor in they have a top 5 draft pick. I think it's the 4th overall. If you want to go out and possibly draft a quarterback to sit behind Matt Ryan, you can do that. If you want to go out and get an edge rusher, they can do that. Gregory Rousseau, a versatile guy who can really provide a spark off the edge. I know Tack McKinley didn't really work out, but Atlanta, number 4 on this list. You're looking at the division. Carolina, they're on the uprise. Tampa Bay, I don't know how much longer they're going to be, this good. I don't think this team is going to be a dynasty with like Gronk and Brady and Antonio Brown. I think it's more of a 2 to 3 year window here, including this year. And then as far as the Saints are concerned, we're hearing a bunch of talks that Drew Brees is, probably going to retire at the end of the season. They don't have a quarterback in place. Obviously a well-coached team with a ton of great players. But all in all, I would have the Falcons at spot number 4 on this list. Okay, so the team number 3 on this list is the New York Jets. Okay, the Jets right now, they're a team that's in complete disarray. They have no answers. They have no identity. They don't know who they are. A team that doesn't have a lot of talent on the team. Okay, a team that quite frankly has been an embarrassment for the last couple of seasons. So the Jets have a lot of work to do. Luckily for New York, they have a lot to work with. They have a lot of assets. They have a general manager in Joe Douglas that has seen a winning football product. He's been with Baltimore. He's been with the Eagles, won Super Bowls with both of those franchises, really worked his way up. I trust Joe Douglas to get it done, but when you're looking at the New York Jets as a job, they have the 2nd overall pick in the draft. They also have the 2nd pick in every other round after that. They have multiple first-round picks, so we can replenish this roster. We have a solidified left tackle in Mekhi Becton. That's a huge position that teams typically have to figure out. The new head coach doesn't have to worry about it. Becton is a beast, all right? You're looking at the cap space. Who are the big contracts here? We have CJ Mosley. That's pretty much it. All right, we have a lot to work with. If the Jets want to dish out a couple, contracts, they want to bring a lot of guys in the building, really start changing the culture immediately with veteran winners, they can definitely do that. Okay, they have the 2nd most cap space in the league behind the Jacksonville Jaguars. It gives a head coaching candidate a lot of breathing room as far as, swapping players in, swapping players out on this roster. So very, very attractive on that end. So then you're taking into consideration how the Jets look this past season. They've been a complete abomination. All right, so if this Jets team literally gets 6 wins, you're tripling your win total from last year. I mean, I'm not necessarily saying that the bar is set low, but what I am saying is that a coach can come in, go 8-8, which is average, but that would be a massive, massive improvement. He's not going to be under some certain, playoff mandate or anything like that. You need to have 11 wins. You need to make a wild card. Nothing crazy like that. We just need to build this thing in the right direction. A lot of cap space, a lot of draft picks. We already have our left tackle in the building. Spot number 2. There's a lot to like. There's a lot of assets with the New York Jets. That's why I have them spot number 3 on this list. Team number 2 on this list is the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're pretty much identical to the New York Jets, just a little better, right? A little bit more cap space. They don't have the second pick in the draft. They have the first pick in the draft. The Jets have multiple firsts. So do the Jaguars, okay? One thing I do want to make a note of for Jacksonville specifically, they're in the AFC South, a division that quite frankly has a new division winner. I feel like every year that division is wide open. They're not completely controlled like the AFC West with the Chiefs or the NFC North with the Packers, okay? It's not like you're going to be fighting this uphill battle for the next 10 seasons to knock off some dynasty out there. It's not the case. The Colts, they're up and down. The Titans, they're up and down typically, but it seems like they have things figured out for now. And then Houston, obviously, is just a complete wild card. You don't really know what's going on there. They're also bringing in a new head coach. So you're looking at everything, the cap space, the draft picks, again, the multiple first, the division that you're playing in. And then we get to Trevor Lawrence, one of the greatest quarterback prospects to ever come out of college, an extremely polished individual, a guy who could come in, pick up any offense, a guy who has size, speed, overall arm power, accuracy. The leadership is there. Everything you want, pretty much everything you want in a quarterback prospect, Lawrence possesses. He's going to be the number 1 overall pick. That's extremely attractive for a head coaching candidate looking at Jacksonville as a serious option. And last but not least, the number 1 team, the best overall head coaching opportunity is the Los Angeles Chargers. Talk about a team that has a lot of pieces figured out. They really just need somebody to come in and manage the team, right? They have their franchise quarterback in Justin Herbert, literally coming off of one of the best seasons ever, arguably the best rookie season ever for a quarterback. Okay, the amount of yards, the touchdowns, the mobility, the size, the leadership that Herbert brings to the table, it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. You don't have to worry about finding the next guy. You don't have to worry about shelling out a massive mega deal to a Kirk Cousins or something like that. No, you have a guy on a cheap contract, so you have that flexibility with the cap space. You're looking at the other positions on the roster. You have 2 pass rushers. Ingram's getting up there in age, but Bosa and Ingram, fantastic edge rushers. I mean, what a luxury to have your franchise quarterback and 2 star edge rushers. It's fantastic. You have a Pro Bowl safety in Derwin James coming back from injury. He wasn't there this season. So the Chargers this season lost a bunch of games. Yes, that's clear. That's obvious. We all know their record. But at the end of the day, this is a team that competed. Their MO was special teams blunders, weird anomalies that would just pop up and they would just, shockingly lose. They would blow these huge leads. I think they just need to get the right guy in the building. I don't think this team needs to reboot. They don't need to reload or have this huge overhaul. I literally think if they just replace the head coaching position and they don't really change much of the roster at all, this team can possibly be a wild card team next year. So all in all, the Chargers, to me personally, are the most attractive opening out of them all. So to quickly recap here, my least attractive team is the Houston Texans. Keep your eye on Eric Bieniemy. Next is the Detroit Lions. Keep your eye on Robert Saleh coming from San Francisco. Next, the Atlanta Falcons. This one was difficult. I think Bieniemy would also fit in Atlanta. This one's kind of tough, but there has been an indication I have heard that the Falcons are really intrigued by Arthur Smith, offensive coordinator of the Tennessee Titans, so that's another name to watch. Spot number 3, the New York Jets. There's been a lot of rumors. There's been a lot of interview requests coming from the Jets, and rightfully so. I would look at guys like Brian Daboll, Wink Martindale, and then of course my guy Matt Campbell. Number 2, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Every indication in the world is pointing to Urban Meyer going to Jacksonville. I haven't heard anything else from any other candidate. It's just been Urban Meyer. I have heard he's asking for $12 million annually, so it's up to Khan to see if he thinks Urban Meyer's worth that amount of money, because it's quite a bit. And then last but not least, the Chargers. I think the perfect fit here is Brian Daboll, OC from the Buffalo Bills. So I'll leave it there. Let me know your teams, your favorite openings down below, and I would love to hear your exact rankings as well. So thanks so much for watching, and as always, go Jets.